What the weirdest thing you did while you were high? One time years ago I was camping at a campground with my wife and a few friends. We are all sitting around the fire drinking. Her brother and I go for a walk to smoke some joints. We finish that and I have to piss, so he goes back to the group, and when I'm done I head back as well. So I get back and I'm pretty baked at this point, and I'm just standing there watching the fire and drinking my beer for a few minutes. I then noticed a particular Coleman lantern on the picnic table and thought to myself, I don't remember us having one of those here. It was at that point that I realized I was standing at the wrong damned campsite amongst a bunch of people I have never met, while my group was watching from the next site over, laughing and wondering WTF I was doing. Freaked out that I'd lost my iPad somewhere on the way to the train station. I got off the train and went back, retracing my steps all the way back to my apartment, only to realize that I was listening to music the whole time on my iPad. Got up to leave my bedroom and knocked on the door before opening it to go out. I relate to this calm, polite kind of high. My friend is restless when he's high, so he was standing at the edge of the living room while most of our group was seated. I wanted to sit down too, but I ended up standing behind him because I thought we had to wait in a line to get into the living room. Back in college, I got super baked with friends. Like almost non-verbal, tunnel vision stoned. We went to this donut place near campus, Ken's Donuts if anyone is familiar with the UT Austin area. I was staring at the counter full of donuts. I felt like I was standing there for like a minute quietly humming and thinking. Apparently, it was closer to 10 minutes, and I was loudly humming the theme song to Jurassic Park over and over again. For some reason, we were listening to it on the drive over, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. I laughed my ass off multiple times while eating the donuts after the whole standing/humming like a moron thing I was doing. I was on acid at a music festival and asked a cop if he would name a hurricane after me. Fortunately he thought that was funny. This one time I was coming up morning of date to Coachella and had just gotten to the bank of lockers where our group's stuff was stored. I was reaching for the locker but just couldn't get to it and the key wouldn't go in. My friend walks up to me, grabs the key out of my hand, and I swear in one step traverses the distance of a football field and unlocks the door. Turns out the hit had just hit me like a freight train, and I was on my hands and knees in the grass about 6 feet from the locker with my arm outstretched trying to insert the key. Depth perception, man. That was a great day. It's not that weird, but I get really weird sensations when in high. Other people probably get it too, but I just don't know how to describe it. But one time I was just rubbing my leg a little because I was cold and my friend was sitting next to me. So then I was like, well, I can feel my hand and I can feel my leg. I wonder if I can feel hers. So I rubbed her leg and was like, wow, I can't feel it, and I didn't really understand why. My friend just laughed at how stupid I was. LMAO. That's happened to me before. I'm not a fan. One time I was sleeping over at a friend's house and woke up to her slapping the ever-loving it out of my face. Jenny, what the yuck are you doing? I yelled. Your arm was on me, she replied. And then we both realized that she'd been laying on her own arm and it had gone numb, and she thought her arm was my arm. So she tried to throw it back on me, but it didn't work, obviously, because it wasn't my arm. I came home cross-faded one night, easily the most intoxicated I'd ever been. I walked into the living room and pushed the TV to the back of the table. Instead of the couch I sat down where the TV used to be and stared at the couch silently, alone, and in the pitch black darkness for at least 30 seconds before saying out loud, so this is what it's like to be a TV. I realized then I'd had way too much and went to bed before I hurt myself. A few years ago I was on shrooms with some friends and we went on a walk to smoke a cig. Every time I took a puff of my cigarette, I was expecting to taste Mountain Dew, and I was disappointed every time that it didn't. I quit smoking cigs a few days after that. Crazy. Mushrooms helped my friend quit smoking too. She was standing there smoking and all of a sudden just held it in front of her face, went, breathing king fire, and never smoked again. Psilocybin helps people quit smoking at really high rates. There's been studies on it. Not to make you feel bad, like your story is insignificant or something. Just wanted to make it known to more people. The more people that can quit smoking, the better. The very first time I got high, my lovely friend told me you'll know when you've had enough, so of course I smoked a ton. When I wasn't moving, it felt like time had stopped. I had no idea what was going on. If I moved though, I was completely fine. I ended up dancing to no music by myself as long as I could before I went to sleep. I think I went to sleep anyway. Time wasn't working. I may have just laid there for 8 hours. Got high, ate a bunch of jalapeno poppers. Not that weird. No, the weird part was the calendar appointment I made for myself the next morning that just said ha 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 ha. Jaime apparently predicted the right time for my morning bowel movement, and as those little jalapeno poppers burned again on the way out, he reached out across time and space to laugh at sober me about it. I ate mushrooms by myself, and some guy dropped off pizza at my house, so I signed for it. Only thing is, I didn't order any pizzas. My boyfriend came home and said, "You ordered pizza?" It had been sitting on the table for hours. I thought I dreamt it. Whoops. The guy came to the very wrong house. But I did tip him handsomely, so I did the right thing. This should just be a commonplace business idea in Colorado. Take a few extra pizzas around town, knocking on smoky college house doors at closing, getting a decent tip, and they don't even remember they ordered one. Standing by the sink, weeping as I tore into the most juicy and delicious whole ripe mango. In my mind I thought it was some sort of alien creature, and it was giving its life in exchange for my pleasure. I thought it was the most beautiful, selfless act anything had ever done for me, and was overcome by emotion. I must have looked like a goddamn weirdo, but it was still a beautiful moment. Edit. I remember a roommate coming into the kitchen and asking what was wrong, because I was crying and whispering thank you to the fruit. Went to White Castle to get food for everyone after we smoked. We all had the same order, 2 double cheese sliders and an order or mozzarella sticks. When I gave her my order, I didn't just say that I wanted 8 double cheese sliders in total. I repeated the 2 double cheese sliders and mozzarella sticks 4 times. By the time I got to the end of my order, the cashier sounded so defeated. I still cringe thinking back to that moment, but it's also one of my funniest smoke stories. The first time I smoked keef was my 21st birthday after already drinking way too much. The fade was so intense that I couldn't walk. My friends put me in my bed, but for some reason I felt the need to not be in my room. So with my non-functioning legs, I crawled on my elbows down the hall and down a staircase to an empty bedroom, where I laid on the floor in the dark for 30 minutes. Then I got uncomfortable laying on the ground, so I miraculously regained control of my legs and managed to remove the door to the bedroom to lay on. Pretty solid mattress, if you like yours firm. I remember a while ago I was stoned playing WOW. I was in the middle of Stormwind, just holding the W and D key, running in circles for a solid 15 to 20 minutes, laughing my ass off. I then somehow thought I discovered a game-changing feature, so I started up a screen recorder and set my mic up, and talking absolute nonsense that was completely incoherent. In the middle of one of my sentences, after I stopped laughing so much, I went hold on. Wait, I think I just thought of something else to try out, and I got quiet and my character stopped running in circles. Suddenly, I held the W and A key and started running in the opposite direction. I instantly started laughing my ass off and did that for another 20 minutes. Had a bunch of cannabis with my roommate, and after 3 hours, it hadn't kicked in, so we walked to the discount grocery store. Of course, that's when it hit us hard. We ended up finding this massive bag of cheese puffs. I've never before or since seen a bag this big, and on the way back home we opened it up and started munching. Well, we passed a 24-hour fitness, the kind with wall-to-wall windows, and we couldn't fathom why anyone would want to work out over eating cheese puffs. We pressed ourselves in front of the windows, eating and mocking those inside, until a worker came out and told us to leave. I went to Subway while in college and was the only one in the store. I spent about 10 minutes building my sub, carefully thought out every ingredient. I remember the sandwich artists smiling at me because they knew what was going on. All said and done, I had a $20 sub made, paid, and walked home without my sub. I realized this when I got home and sat at the table. I walked my ass back to Subway and the same two guys started cracking up when they saw me walk in. I grabbed my sub that they had set aside and ate it on my walk home. Wow, you've reached the end of the video. If you want to see more, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more videos.